Hello wapenzi watazamaji, karibuni tena. Kwanza kabla tuendelee, tukaribishe your favorite co-host Alfie. Karibu.
Hey, Niko. Uko fiti?
Tuko.
Very nice. Hata mimi niko.
Leo ni siku ya black and white.
Yes, it's a day.
Yeah, natumai mko salama na stress imeisha, stress ya jua imeisha. Sasa ni mvua kidogo, lakini tunashukuru hiyo. Na tunaendelea kwa safari hii yetu ya kujifunza kuhusu stress.
Yes.
Unajifunza wewe?
Stressful situations. Zingine nikikaa hapa stress inakuaga hapa, nikiingia hapa inakuaga na mimi. Unakuja unaketi hapa kwa stress, unalearn about stress. Yes, imagine.
Alafu kuihandle.
Iko tu sawa.
Tunapambana nayo.
Ndio hiyo sasa.
Tunapambana nayo. Natumai mmekuwa mkiwatch vipindi vyetu ambavyo vimepita, zenye tumekuwa tukiintroduce about stress, learn types of stress, tukaangalia hizo zote, na pia stress effects on our bodies and on our minds. Ndio
hiyo kabisa.
Sasa saizi tunaendelea na pia mambo ya stress. Tutaka kujua causes, lakini kabla tujue causes, tunaangalia reactions to stressful situations. Ama
flight yangu nibaki na flight.
Unabaki kwa flight.
Niko kwa flight.
Kwa flight of
ilikuwa fight of flight. Niko flight nimeenda.
Ushaenda. So swali ni today we are going to tackle this question. So how do we determine how stressful a stressor is to a person?
Well, mimi nasema how do you react to a stressful situation? Sindio?
Yes.
Una react aje?
Ni ujue hiyo stress ni kubwa, ndogo, ukimbie, ubaki,
we ignore. Yes.
Hizo zote.
So, how do you react to a stressful situation?
Ndio hiyo.
Tabi ndio panya.
Hakuna hapa. Acha kuniambia tani panya na hakuna hapa. Hatuna panya hapa hata. Hakuna.
Reaction ya tabi ndio hiyo. Yes. So, how do we react?
Yes. How stressful is the stressor?
Exactly. Wow. Okay.
So I think the first thing tunaanzia na ni adaptation.
Yes. Is stressor. Because now we are looking at the stressor. So, umesema adaptation. So, how are you adapting to the stressor?
Yes.
Stressor yetu ni nini? I think that's the first thing we need to first of all realize. What situation are we looking at? For instance, mimi nimekuintroduce panya. So, what is your adaptation to that rat?
Fight it off light mode.
Yes, no. So, you are looking at it, you are thinking, do I run or do I fight?
Yes.
So, you need to adapt to that.
So tunaangalia adaptability yetu.
Yes.
Tumekutana na issue a stressor, a stressful event in our life, ndio isitupatie magonjwa na negative effects. Tunaangalia adapt kwaje kwa hiyo stress.
Yes. Na unajua one thing people should realize, mimi nimepeana a creature, let me call it a creature.
Yes.
But when you look at life, for instance, umepewa promotion.
Kweli? Now is the creature?
That is our creature now. So we've moved from the rat to this promotion.
Yes.
So how are you going to adapt to this? Because it's a positive, to us it's a positive outlook. Sindio? You umepandishwa cheo, so you're feeling good, salary imeongezeka and all that. But now it has a stressor.
Yes.
How do you handle the new duties?
How you handle?
Yes.
Unaihandle aje?
Exactly.
Ndio ujue kama ni positive
or negative. Yes. So you need to adapt to the situation.
You need to adapt to the situation.
Yes. Now, and something else people should realize, when you have, when you're reacting to a stress or when you're adapting to a stressor, when you have, tunazitaga, mina zita small stresses, umepandishwa cheo, fine, you've been promoted. Now that is the first stressor that you have. Now probably this promotion, of course, inakuja na some other things attached. Probably more responsibilities.
So cumulative stress.
Yes. So number one, promotion imekuja. Number two, now I was dealing with 2 people, now I'll be dealing with 15 people.
Yes. Of various departments.
Yes. So stress yangu, I've moved from stress 1 of promotion, now I've moved to stress 2, I'm handling 15 people. That is my stress level.
Yes.
Then stress level now, this one of handling 15 people, I have to learn everybody else.
Yes, you have to learn them. and learn the job. Inakuwa
cumulative stress.
Kumaanisha unafaa ukuwe adaptable to hizi vitu zote. Ndio isikuweke chini.
Exactly.
You tackle it.
You tackle it as it
fight
comes.
it to see flight.
Yes.
We tackle.
So hapa hakuna flight mode. Hapa hakuna now these are fight mode.
Now you're there.
Yes. So now you need to adapt to the situation.
It. Yeah.
You say.
So stress si necessarily moja. It is cumulative.
It is cumulative. You have one stressor, but this one stressor can also have other stressors building on it. For instance, again, tumetumia hiyo promotion. Another one, pengine umeenda hospital, you're not feeling well. So I'm not feeling well. I've gone, nimeambiwa, oh, Alfie, you're suffering from malaria, blah, 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 blah. So stress number 1, I was not feeling well. Stress number 2, now we have identified my issue. I have malaria. Stress number 3, I'm being charged 5,000. Niko na 2,000. You know, already I have 3 stresses, all related to the same item. Mimi physically not feeling well. You see, so this is cumulative.
Kidogo imekuwa something else.
So how do I adapt?
Yes.
To this situation? Daktari nimekuja niko na 2,000, please take my 2,000, let me take medication, I'll be, you know, that's how you adapt to the stressor.
So the adaptability will tell me if the stress is big or it is small according to how I will
adapt to the situation.
It, or I'll adapt to it.
Yes, how you adapt to the situation.
Yeah.
So that's one reaction.
That's one.
Yes.
Adaptation.
Yes.
Then you go to threat or harm.
Flight mode. Flight mode ndio imekuja sasa.
Ndio sasa harm ndio.
Yes. Because now here you're having a threat or you're in danger. Let's use the right word. You're in danger. We go back to the rat now. Panya imekuangalia, wewe umesimama hapa. So, you're calculating what is the threat level. In other words, tunasema what is the probability of this rat attacking you. Sindio? Tuko hapo ndani. Hapo. This is an imminent threat. This is an imminent threat. It's a threat that is probably going to happen. This rat is probably going to attack me.
Yeah, so what do I do?
Yes.
But as before even we get to know what do I do, maybe we need to, in that danger, we need to understand the factors that zenye zitatusaidia kujua is it flight or fight.
Yes.
Then one, imminence of harm.
Probability of happening, of attack. Let me use the correct word. Probability of the rat attacking
it
you.
Being harmful to you, it being danger for you.
Yes. What is the threat level?
Yes.
Ya hiyo panya kuattack.
Na panya inakuogopa.
So already tumeangalia imminence, probability of it happening. So now the next thing inakuwa ni intensity.
Intensity.
Wewe umeangalia, wewe mwenyewe umepanic, panya imepanic. So nyi wote mumeangaliana. So how intense is the threat level?
How intense is the threat level?
Yes.
True.
So this is a reaction. By the Makibu, you're still on the reaction.
Yeah.
Yes. Now again, as we are looking at the intensity of the threat,
we go to the duration.
Yes. What is the time span?
Yeah.
So is it something?
It harming you?
Yes. So is it something that is going to take a few seconds? Is something that is going to take a few minutes? Is it something that will take a few days? Is it something that will take a few months? When you're looking at the duration, it determines. Unajua bado tuko kwa hiyo threat level.
Yes.
So we are still calculating.
Yes.
What is the duration? So don't forget, we are looking at the rat, sindio?
Yes.
But don't forget, when again we look at situations like now, we were looking at the promotion part. So umepromotiwa, so like we were saying, you have these 15 people under you, duties. Now, promotion yako unajua ni permanent.
Yes.
Because kutoka hapo ni indefinitely long period. Yes. Minimum is 1 year. By the way, hawezi promote. Okay, in rare cases you get promoted in less than a year.
Yeah.
But in most cases, it takes you about 2-3 years for you to get another promotion. So not a duration of promotion yet is about 3 years.
Yes.
So how are you going to handle this stress?
How are you going to handle?
Yeah? How are you going to handle this stress?
Yes.
So the duration is also a key factor.
The duration, yeah.
Yes.
And then I think the last one, quite the danger, threat or harm, the extent to which that stressor is objectively uncontrollable.
Tabi ameanza kuongea daktari mingi.
Yes, objectively uncontrollable.
Well, but you see your stressor. Mimi narudi kwa promotion. This promotion, basically there's nothing you can control about it.
Yes. But
so for the next 3 years, but the right you can control.
Yes.
So here we are saying for the promotion, the next 3 years, you have to adapt, you have to learn to live with it.
Yes.
Your story memaliza. For the rat, well, the reaction ya panya na wewe is a bit unpredictable because wewe unaweza ruka juu panya na ikufuate ama unaweza ruka juu panya itoke. So objectively that one is uncontrollable situation for the rat.
Objectively uncontrollable.
Yes, because your reaction determines the rat's reaction.
Yeah.
You chase, ukishtua itatoroka. Na pia unaweza ishtua ikurukie.
Especially zile kubwa kubwa.
So, but for the promotion, iko na wewe.
So ni wewe ujue how to control
the situation. How do you learn the new stuff you're working with? How do you handle the extra duties you've been given? You know, so you now adapt.
You adapt to it, and then maybe you take you return control back to you. Siache stress ichukue control.
Exactly.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
Well,
so that is the threat or
so that is number
the danger.
The next, that was the second reaction. So remember we've done number 1, which is adaptation.
Yes.
Now we've looked at threat or harm, which I've called flight mode. Yeah. So what is the next one?
When demand exceeds resources.
Nimeenda hospitali, nimeitishwa 5,000, I have 2,000.
Hata pengine ulikuwa unaenda tu na kohoa, unajua tu maybe ni homa.
Yes.
Umefika. Umeambiwa acha tupime, tuende lab.
Yes. Lab umesurvive. Yes.
Pesa kadhaa.
Yes.
Umesurvive.
Yes.
Ndio wame sasa sijui ni TB or what.
Ama umeambiwa you need to be admitted. Yes. So how are you going to react with these?
Yes.
So here the demands you have already zisha exceed whatever you currently have.
Yes.
Probably for instance, maybe another example, you're planning maybe a wedding. Budget yako ni 100,000.
Yeah, budget ya watu kadogo.
Me I have 100k, so that's what I can afford. Then unapigwa budget 500,000.
Unakuta so and so fulani, all of them are coming.
No, all your friends have decided the village wants to see you getting married.
Wherever you used to work 10 years back, they are coming.
Exactly.
So
demand exceeds
the resources.
Yes.
So what do you do? What do you do?
What is your reaction to this situation?
Yeah.
You need to adapt. So what do I have? Mimi niko, the farthest I can go is 200,000. Tafadhalini. Budget yangu ni 200,000. Msinisumbue.
Or you call au marafiki wenyewe.
Wakuja na pesa.
Then bring something.
Yes.
Then adaptability.
Yes.
How you take it.
Yes.
So, itakupea stress ama haitakupea stress.
Yes. So for this particular reaction where demand exceeds resources, so mostly we find it with finances, we find it with jobs. For instance, again, like you've been promoted.
Yes.
But the demands of the promotion, they actually, whatever you're supposed to do and whatever you've been allocated has much. Remember, today you need to cover 10,000 kilometers. In this month you're supposed to cover 10,000 kilometers. But the fuel umepewa ni ya cover 2,000 kilometers. Ama you're supposed to do 10,000 entries, but ukifanya hesabu yako you can only do 5,000.
Demand resources.
Exists. Demands and resources, they're not matching.
Unakuja mostly in this category, unakuta somebody anakuwa na psychological stress.
Yeah, true. True, because this one is something that is pertaining to whatever you are dealing with or you are
whatever
working
you're dealing with. At emotional stress, fear, you find yourself having this.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then we go to the fourth one, and maybe this will tutachia hapa kwa the fourth one, interruption of goals.
Emotional stress. Here, this one is basically more or less emotional stress. You have set out today, or I have decided this year ninajenga nyumba. Unfortunately, you lose someone in between. Emotional stress. So you need to divert the funds from wherever they were supposed to, the building of the house. Now you have to handle.
Or the economy na kuchapa ile kitu inachapa watu sahi.
Ama emotion inaitwa recession. Economy inachapa recession.
Yes.
So ikichapa recession, ile pesa ulikuwa umebudgetia, it's not there. Ama the business that you're supposed to get is not there.
The income is coming that you had foreseen it coming is not coming.
Yes. The clients you had, they bail out. So interruption of goals. So these are mostly inaleta emotional stress. Wow.
Or maybe when a loved one has passed on and alikuwa breadwinner.
Yes. So how do you react to this stressful situation? How do you, because here you have to look for the adaptation, how are you going to adapt to this situation? Then what is the threat level, as we call it, or the harm level? Because now when you lose a loved one, basically everything has changed. The dynamics have all changed. You know. So number one, you need to adapt. You now know we used to get 100 shillings from this person. So 100 shillings, we are no longer. It's no longer there. We need to
sit down and think and change.
Yes. So we need to get 100 shillings, but from where? You know, so up until pale tunasema now the what is it called, the intensity of the situation. Yes, because how intense is it, how are you going to adapt to it? Then again, at this point you also see the demand will also exceed the resources. Because initially the 100 shillings was covering whatever you had, but now you no longer have the 100 shillings.
You no longer have it.
So the demand now, of course, goes up. You know. Wow.
That is it. How stressful. The question was,
how do we react?
Yes. The question I asked is, how do we determine how stressful
a situation is
to a person? How reactions?
The reactions, which are now called reactions to a stressful situation.
So if 0 is the least stressful or 5 is the maximum, so unaangalia ni wapi inakupea stress 0, 5 hapo.
Yes.
When you consider this, you consider when you find yourself in a situation, consider adaptation, consider is it harmful, is it threatful, is it full of threat kwako, inakuletea threat. You consider is the demands exceeding your resources, what to do. You consider interruption of goals. Then you tangalia, then you will know how to react. Is it fight
or flight?
Or flight.
Yes.
But in this life, mostly
we are forced to fight.
We are forced to
because
fight.
the situations where we are allowed to do flight mode, they are limited.
They are limited.
And most of the time, when it comes to flight mode, is usually when we have physical threat. But you see, when it comes to threats, we are calling them stressors. But when you're dealing with a stressor like that's related maybe to your work environment, you cannot run away from it. It is there. You cannot refuse a promotion. So you take the promotion and deal with it, you know.
Deal with it, yes.
So if it's only that, unless we say the environment becomes toxic, that's when you do the flight mode, where you resign.
Yes.
Your Honor.
When the situation is toxic.
Toxic, yes. That's why I've used the word toxic. If the situation is toxic, that's when you'll do the flight mode.
Yes.
But 99% of the time,
we find ourselves forced to
fight.
Tackle it head on.
Head on.
Yes.
Hakuna mahali. You've lost a loved one, imefanyika.
Yes, life has to go on.
Umeenda hospitali, wewe ni mgonjwa.
Yes.
Your loved one is sick. Treatment has to be done, whether you have the finances or not. So you have to go to the fight mode.
Life has to go on. So you fight.
Yes.
Tackle the situation.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think when we do that, tutaweza because life has to go on.
Life has to go on.
Yeah.
Well, so that is reactions to stressful situations.
Yes.
Hivyo mimi ndio niliita, wewe uliita nini?
I think characteristics that define a stressful event.
Wow. Pick your title.
Yes.
Topic is the same.
It's the same. The meaning is the same.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's it. Tunaendelea.
Today.
That's it for this subtopic.
Yes.
The one that you will pick for yourself. Yeah. Tuonane baadaye, but
subscribe,
like,
yes,
send
comment
a link to your friends. Please do comment.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you for those who've been commenting. Tunaendelea vivyo hivyo. Asanteni sana. Thank you for your support. Tuzidi pamoja.
Wala.